Hey there, friends and viewers. This is Hengest with TGN.TV. Today, I'm going to do a continuation of my Frozen Crusade series. The objective of this video will be just to put you in the shoes of a Frost Mage, see it from our perspective, what it's like to deal damage against the multitude of classes in World of Warcraft. We're going to see what they're good at, see what they're not good at. Well, we'll stick to the first part of that statement, but yeah, let's get into it. I've got some arena footage as well as some dueling and battlegrounds for you guys, just to, really encapsulate what's going on with this class, why there's a lot of drama behind it. And lastly, there's been a lot of talk in my last video on this series of my damage output, and I think maybe I didn't do a good job of conveying it in the past, but my mage is wearing all blues, bloodthirsty gear, with accessories and a heroic dungeon weapon. So keep that in mind throughout the course of these videos, that my damage output would be much more substantial were I wearing epic gear. This is my alternate character, which is why that's the case. But I believe playing a Frost Mage, I don't know, some people are good at it, some people aren't. So hopefully this will give you a good perspective. Here we go, let's get right into it. So here I'm starting out in Twin Peaks, and I just want to show you with this clip how easy it is to counter melee classes. Even a Death Knight, who is by nature much stronger against casters than other melee classes, just because of the nature of some of their abilities, like anti-magic shield that he just used there, for instance, made him immune to my rooting effects. But his death grip is on cooldown, so I'm going to move myself into the Ring of Frost here, and you're going to see him make a mistake by stepping into it. He gets a little overzealous, and my damage breaks him out of the freeze from the Ring of Frost, but guys, he got immediately rooted by my Shatter Barrier afterward, which allowed me to get off a Frozen Frostbolt on him, dealing an extreme amount of damage. Why is that significant, and why should you take note? Because he wasn't able to move throughout the course of those two casts. That's an enormous amount of burst damage that he had to deal with while rooted in place. No other class can really do that. So let's move on. You see he gets destroyed rather easily there. Now in this next clip, it's a 3v3 arena, and I just want to show you what crowd controlling is like if you're using Ring of Frost effectively. There's my Pet's Freeze, rooting all of them in place, all three of my opponents. We decided to focus this Death Knight, and I burst on him very hard. You don't actually get to see the Frostbolt crit there. And there I use all my cooldowns, firing my laser, and just focusing down their healer, who is a Holy Paladin. There goes my Ring of Frost, and luckily get both of them in place. You see I just crit that warrior for almost 20,000, and burst on him shortly afterward for about 35k. Nice little display of burst damage, in addition to that crazy crowd controlling I displayed throughout the course of that clip. Didn't even polymorph at all. Here we have another clip. In this one, I helped my partners take down that Affliction lock with some pretty intense burst damage there. Smokescreen keeping heals off of him. And there we switch over to the rest of Shaman. I'm going to fast forward a bit to show you some of the more crowd controlling abilities. I just got deep frozen, but using my ice block there to completely negate that damage. Here we go. Here comes the deep freeze on him, jumping over the ledge, and just some nice burst to finish him off. Bear in mind, guys, the reason I say the Frost Mage is overpowered is not just because of the damage, which is really strong, but more because of how versatile they are defensively. So you don't get to see a lot of that in Arena. Wow, did you see that? That was like 35 as well. I'm going to transfer over to this Feral Druid real quick. But as I was saying, you don't get to see a lot of the defensive capabilities of Frost Mages in arenas, which is why I think Blizzard has allowed the class to get so out of hand in every other aspect of the game with regards to PvP. Anyways, here we go. We're going to do a little duel with a Subtlety Rogue who is eons more geared than me, so keep that in mind when you see the damage exchange. He just tried to open on me with a Garrote. I started on my mount because in my eyes, this is just fine. This is fair because you can do it in Arena. He tried to open on me with a Garrote twice there, using my Pet Freeze to get him in place, transition into a Deep Freeze. He uses his Trinket and his Smokescreen. That means I can no longer target him with casts, but I can launch a Flame Orb in his face. Uses his Vanish and gets me up with a cheap shot, using my Blink to get away. Shatter Barrier taking effect there, transitioning with my Ring of Frost. He's got his evasion up, so I can't root him very well. And wisely getting out of my Ring of Frost. That was used defensively. And I'm just trying. He blinded me there. I'm trying to recast on him, but he got his Vanish off again. Oh my goodness. Using my roots to great effect. There goes the Blink after the kidney shot. Um, and he's going to Shadow Step on me. There goes another Deep Freeze to reposition myself. Kind of hairy, but he's pretty much spent all of his cooldowns now after that second smoke screen. And if he's willing to just sit there and lay back, I'm going to use my Evocate. I used as a sprint. Now he's pretty much a sitting duck, I believe. There goes a Deadly Throw. Trying to do as much damage as he can, but he just cannot keep up with these amount of roots. Look at that crazy burst damage. Frozen in place. His last chance, there's the combat readiness. I got my Deep Freeze off cooldown. There goes my shields again. What was that? Did he manage to sap me somehow? I'm not even sure. But I did manage to get the Deep Freeze off. Fire blasting, even trying to get through this combat readiness. Getting off one last stun, but my blink is off cooldown. As it always is when you're stunned by a rogue for the most part. Didn't even have to use my ice block there. You guys can see just how many resources you have as a mage. Were I to have used Cold Snap in there, I could have ended the duel easier with an additional Deep Freeze as well as another Ring of Frost. I mean, the options are endless. Here I'm going to show you some crowd controlling. Just so happens that like 4 players come out of nowhere and I freeze them all with my Ring of Frost. Look at that burst damage on that hunter. This clip is used to show you how you can control a situation on this level in Tolbarad or anywhere else for that matter, while still managing to kill people. You can see me taking down this hunter after encountering all those players. Granted, the reinforcements rolled in there. Here I'm going to show you some dismounting of players who are have a high amount of resilience. So this is some sort of a priest. And you can see the Deep Freeze. He decides to run away even after getting bursted on like that. So I use my polymorph. And curiously, the damage I inflict on him doesn't break him out, so it does take a couple heals off of him. And I'm just going to continue to pursue him. Now pay attention here. Look at me spell stealing his shields, his fortitude, his renew, all the while I'm moving and still dealing damage to this guy. I'm going to get in position by chasing him down with a blink here. Guys, it's really kind of a futile effort to try to run away from a Frost Mage, especially if you're spec'd into Frost Fire Orb. So there I'm firing my laser again. I'm going to try to kill this guy. I don't remember if I do. There's a counter spell. I think I'm spell stealing some graces there in between, as well as some renews. Not really necessary though after using my images and all that burst damage. Look at that damage on the rogue. Here we are. I'm going to try to break him out of stealth with a flame orb, but I get intercepted by this Death Knight, or actually I intercept him. I think I'm just out for blood here. World PvP. Crazy burst damage on that Deep Freeze. He death grips me. Using my Frost Nova there. Jeez, this guy's out for my blood. Anti-magic shield up and active. Putting my shields back up. There's the pet freeze from behind. And going to be able to pull off another deadly rotation on this guy. Should be able to get yet another Deep Freeze in on him. But I think yeah, there he goes. He's throwing up his other shield. And this druid, I think, steps in to start healing. So I have to make an escape. I've got an Arcane Mage casting on me right now. That's real bad news. Arcane Blast spam right there. And I got some dots on me as well. I'm about to die. These dots will finish me off. But I managed to use an ice block and then slow fall down the cliff for the win. Wow. In this clip, pay attention here. I'm zoomed in on my enemy's buffs. And I just want you to look. I'm going to spell steal the crap out of these 2 healers now. There's a Resto Druid and a Disciplined Priest. Now pay attention to how well a Frost Mage can just neutralize healers, because you harass them so much that they can't focus on other players. Look at all those buffs on this priest, and look at how fast I take them away. Renews, Wild Growths, Life Blooms, Clear Casts, Shields, the whole damn shebang. You just purge them right off. Not only that, but you take them for yourself. So if you're being focused by another player, that actually gives you quite an edge defensively and offensively, all the while pulling off damage in between, completely stealing all of their buffs. Here we go. I'm going to display, this guy's very undergeared, but I want to show you just how helpless lesser geared players are. Watch this. Ho! Feel my power! Yeah, he didn't even have the time to charge me after being deep frozen off of his mount. That was like 5 seconds of survival time. Here I'm going to show you a little bit of battleground, larger scale battles. I'm going to step off to the side here. You can see me spell stealing the crap out of that Ret Paladin. Hand of Freedoms, even all of his static buffs just taken away. I'm going to get up on this ledge, and I'm going to fire my laser a little bit here. I don't think there's exceptional damage that I display here, but it's just a great show of how easily you can slow down other characters, just kind of tempt the healers back, even polymorph a little bit. Frost mages have so much utility, guys. They can deal damage like a regular ranged class, but they have all of these other abilities at their disposal. There's the fire and the laser. Now I'm going to burst quite a bit more than I have been. Getting some fingers of frost off there. That means my ice lance is going to be through the roof, hitting geared targets for 15k there. Frost firebolts flying all over the place. That's same paladin. I think he was trying to run the flag or something. Pet freezing him in place. I'm going to finish him off. Wow, look at that. Most of that damage, guys, can be done while moving as long as those fingers of frost are up. Including those frost firebolt instant casts, which all inherit the mastery bonuses from Frostburn. For those of you that don't know what that is, the mastery increases the damage you deal against frozen targets by a set percentage, and that percentage happens to be very substantial. Here, I'm in, what is this, worthless battleground, Isle of Conquest, and you're going to see a huge battle here. First things first, I'm going to crowd control their entire team. There's the pet freeze on half of them, and there's the Ring of the Frost on the other half. The rest of the people in the back are either healers or ranged. So huge delay on their team right off the start. And I'm going to pick my targets here carefully, trying to find low resilience ones, firing my laser right there, and I'm just going to start unloading. Pay attention to this damage. And I do a lot of it while moving. Deep freezing this target. He goes down very quickly. That was, actually, he dispersed away. Wow. Damaging this hunter, bursting for almost 50k there. Deep freezing him, 33,000 frostbolt crit on the deep freeze. Switching over to this Death Knight, and wow, some more crazy damage. I'm not being focused at all. I have heroism and icy veins active. I'm just dealing crazy amounts of damage because my haste is through the roof. And now I'm just going to hunt down what's left of their army here. Maybe should be spell stealing a little bit there, or just focusing down that Holy Paladin like there's no tomorrow. Even throwing in impacts, guys. Impacts are a 2-second stun, which you can proc randomly off any damaging attack, which makes for great interrupting used in conjunction with counterspelling, as well as deep freezes. Frost mages have at least 3 interrupts that come to mind. I guess you could consider polymorph one. Wow, some more frostbolt critting there. Switching over to this hunter, I think I'm just showing off there. Here we are in Arathi Basin, throwing a flame orb at this rogue in case he decides to vanish. Seems to be AFK or something. Oh, wow, just trying to show off some of that burst damage dealing there. He was not AFK. Trying to break him out of stealth with my Cone of Cold, not working. But I find in many ways he's shadow stepping around, and there's a warrior that comes rushing in. I believe I'm going to fire my laser here and teach these 2 hooligans a lesson about messing with frost mages. He's blade storming while getting hit by ice lances like crazy. There's a Ret Paladin over there. He just popped his Avenger's Wrath. I believe I'm going to steal that from him after I burn down that warrior. Yep, there we go. I'm switching over to the Paladin. Here goes my spell stealing spree. All of his buffs now belong to me. All your base are belong to us. So he's completely buffless, and I'm just going to finish him off by casting free up there on the bank. Oh, what is this clip? Random clip. Deep freezing a priest there. Oh my goodness. Feel my power. Yeah. This has been Hengest with TGN.TV, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. The second installment to the Frozen Crusade series. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.